admit that you have slapped Tina before, but why, Ike?
She would be walking around looking sad, with a lip drop, and I keep asking her, "And what is the matter with you? What's wrong?" And it's always nothing. And it would go on for a day or two till finally, why the don't you? And then this is where I would slap her or something. Then she would change her mood or attitude or something.
Welcome back to Unbiased and Unbossed. I'm back here today with a video on Tina Turner and the physical abuse that she received at the hands of Ike. It's been less than a week and already black men like Tariq Nasheed and this other fellow have taken to their social media accounts to either make fun of or to highlight Ike Turner over her. And it really shows a disturbing and a disrespectful pattern amongst black men to always disregard and make fun of black women who are experiencing traumatic situations such as physical abuse within the black community from black men. And after looking at these rare interviews that a lot of people, I think, have not seen, I think most of us will see why Tina chose to leave the black community, black America, relocate to Europe and leave Christianity for a new start on life, and why at the very end of her days, she was happy.
Now, a film called What's Love Got to Do With It, based on Tina's biography, has reopened old wounds. It paints Ike Turner as a womanizing, cocaine-addicted monster who beat his wife with coat hangers and walking sticks, and once threw boiling coffee in her face. Ike, who's recently served time in prison on drugs charges, claims it's a lie. Both he and Tina agreed to speak to me about their tempestuous life together. If everything Tina says about you is true, then you're a bad man.
Well, I would say this, maybe so, if it was true, but if that's what it took to make her what she is today, then I have no regrets. There's no scars on Tina. You can take a real close look at her. She's never had any skin graft on her face anywhere. If I put coffee on her and she got, from what I understand, she said 33 and 30 degree burns or whatever it was, I'm sure that she would have to have some skin graft or something.
Like, how bad were you into cocaine?
Oh, I was terrible, man. Terrible. Best thing happened to me was when I went to jail, man. And so that's when I got my life back together. I can gladly say now, man, that I've been clean now, man, for 5 years, a little over 5 years.
Is Tina a classy lady?
A what?
Classy
lady?
Yeah.
I think so. She used to be. I don't know anything about her today, man, because other words, she talked with an accent like an English accent or Australian accent or something.
Where would she be now if she'd never met you?
Yeah, probably in St. Louis, nurse's aide at Barnes Hospital.
Do you make that much difference to her life?
Well, I think so. There was better singers. They look better. They dance better. They perform better, But she was just the one that I chose in my group to be out front.
Tina, thanks for your time. It's good to talk to you.
Thank you.
First the book, now the movie. Why did you want to do that?
The book was written because I was having a problem with every interviewer talking about my past and with Ike, and I felt that if I told the story of what my life was like there, people would understand why I left. And then they all went crazy to want to know how I stayed there, right?
What did you think of the movie?
I haven't yet seen the movie.
Yeah, why not?
Well, because I had enough when I was there. I don't need to see photographs. I don't need to see a movie. I don't need to be reminded.
Was there anything good about Ike in your life?
Yes, I learned many things from Ike. All of my training, except my talent, and I would say my talent is in terms of my dancing and my singing, was natural for me, but the exposure came through Ike Turner.
You talked about victim, and of course the book and the movie features your allegations about his bashings. Tell me about that.
You like to hear that.
That's what it's all about.
I have to make a joke. It's my only way of communicating. Yes, Ike was a violent man when I met him with his ladies before, his women before. I knew that he was a violent person. I also knew that he had a mental problem, and this is not sort of featured in the movie. Yes, he was a brutal man. He had some problems from childhood, and it sort of reflected in his life.
Tina, as you know, Ike says your allegations aren't true. Let me show you a brief clip where he answers my question on beating you.
Well, what I did do to Tina is like I've slapped Tina. The only time I ever punched Tina in my life was the last fight that we had, and that was in Dallas, Texas. This is the last time we broke up. I have slapped her anytime. When I say slapped her, it's like I think we lived a lie. Our whole life was a lie.
Tina, what do you say to that?
I don't want to start an argument with Ike Turner via satellite. Everyone knows. Everyone that worked for Ike and Tina in those days know what happened. I can see why someone would want to deny it. It shows, not a very good character, but I have nothing to say.
Okay, well, let's put the violence aside because it certainly had a good airing in the book and will have in the movie. But there was another thing he said, and I can understand maybe he's trying to get back at you, but I'd like to put it to you because it seems so unusual. He said about you that he believed you didn't want to be black. I'd like you to see him now say that.
She don't even associate with anybody that knew the two of us. In other words, there's not one black employee around her. None, not even a musician.
Tina, what do you say to that?
Well, how can I explain? When I hired my band, the auditions was open, but no one came. No black people came. My success came from Europe, let's say a white country, even though black people are there. Australia, England. All of my success did come from a white country. So what can I say? I mean, I can't just wait around and depend on my race to help me to become successful. If there's another race there to help, these days you got to go for what's there.
So basically you had a white market?
Yes, and I had white people that cared about my success and that helped. It actually came from another country. That's just how it happened. What can I say? It was my luck. It had nothing to do with chance. It was just how it was. I'm happy it's how it was.
I won't carry on about Ike, but I'll just put one more. Let him have you say one time more. You talked about him having sex around the house in unusual circumstances, even when the children were there. Here's what he had to say about that.
She knew what I liked and disliked. For 4 years, she was getting girls for me. I would tell her, go get this girl and send her over to the house, etc. So she knew what I liked and disliked about women.
Tina?
Yeah, I knew what he liked and disliked because they were all around me. Yes, Ike's women were basically the secretaries, the Ikeettes, and I don't recall actually getting women for Ike. I was friendly with everybody that was there, but actually I had no freedom to go out and get anybody because we were all basically locked in, so there was no freedom for this kind of a thing. Whoever was there was whoever he had brought in, that's how it was.
You seem very calm and accepting about the bad times with him, and even seeing those clips, you take it pretty calmly.
I'm past it. It's been 16 years since I haven't been with Ike. And the movie and the book is bringing me back to the past of something that was really awful. My life is wonderful at the moment. I hold no anger. And it doesn't matter to me what a lot of people say, I know the difference. I'm a happy person now, and I don't dwell on unhappiness.
Ironically, Ike never refused the claim that he physically abused Tina. What he does do is dismiss and disregard the impact of his physical abuse on her by saying, hey, because it didn't leave a scar, it obviously didn't hurt. I've been physically abused, and because a bruise or a scar wasn't left over doesn't mean that it didn't hurt, that it wasn't bleeding, and that it didn't cause mental trauma. And oftentimes that is what is left over, the trauma from being abused by someone who claims they love you. In this next interview, Tina goes over what happened to make her finally leave Ike.
We were married to Ike for many years, and of course there were bad things associated with that relationship, and people know about this. It seems particularly relevant now with what's going on in the world and what's going on in show business, but you just walked out. Now, how hard was it to get out of that abusive and dangerous relationship?
Well, it was very difficult and dangerous because Ike was a violent person, and at that point he was on drugs, very insecure, and I had no money, I had no place to go, but I just took a chance. I said the way out is through the door, and while he was on one of his sleeping times, I just left the hotel and went out the kitchen way and down to the freeway, actually. And I remember something. During that time, I didn't measure the speed of a car. I was running across the freeway, and this big truck was coming. And it went, and it felt like it was over me. And I thought, well, I won't try that again. But I had to cross that freeway to actually get to the hotel across from where we were working.
So you took your life in your hands just to get away from there?
Yes.
Right there. Because when you were with him, he kept all the money from the act, didn't he? He kept all the money and
he kept everything. He always said, when you leave, you will leave like you came. Right?
Wow. And why was it at that stage? What was it that happened then? Why was it you decided now I can take no more? Had something specific happened, or was it just the build-up over the years?
It was just time to not take any more. It was constantly abusive, other things going on. There was no control. There was no freedom. It was just the sameness, and the violence. And you just get fed up and you say, life is not worth living if I'm going to stay in this situation. And I stayed there as long as I did because I was trying to help him from the beginning when he told me about his life and how hard it was for him to get a career going. And I promised him that I would never leave him. And I actually stayed because of that promise. But then it got to the point where it became really bad, really bad. So it's time to go.
Most of us have seen What's Love Got to Do with It. We know that she only walked away with her name in that divorce. She was able to come back and be an even bigger artist than when she was with Ike. Her 1984 solo album, Private Dancer, featured several hits, including the Grammy-winning single, What's Love Got to Do with It? That was the same title of her movie in 1993 that was nominated for an Oscar. She had experienced more success after her transformation than she did before. In her personal life, she was able to meet a man who loved her unlike any other man before, and she even found a community in a country outside of America.
I have left America because my success was in another country, and my boyfriend was in another country. And yeah, Private Dancer was the beginning of my success in England. And basically, Europe has been very supportive of my music.
More than America?
Yes. Yes, hugely.
Hugely more.
Yes.
You're a major star here. You're a superstar in America.
Not as big as Madonna. I'm as big as Madonna in Europe. I'm as big as, in some places, as the Rolling Stones.
In Europe?
In Europe.
So you chose to live there, and you didn't choose England, though. That's where.
Yes, I did. I went to England for a couple of years, and then I met a man, and I lived 3 years with him in his country in Germany. And then I bought a house in the meantime in the south of France, and I started to rebuild that. So I'm in and out of there. That's not a place where I can go often.
Where's home?
Zurich.
Why Zurich?
Because my boyfriend was moved there to run the company, and I always wanted to go to Switzerland, and I was very happy.
Is your boyfriend going to be your husband, or it's permanent boyfriend?
It's good like it is.
You like it like it is?
Yes.
What company does he run?
EMI.
Oh.
Everyone says that.
Yeah, well, you could take 12 years off, right? Tina, he don't need you, right? I mean, think about this. This has got to be love.
Well, 10 years of it.
This is no small time. This
Well,
is not Ike, right?
Who?
Speaking of that, do you realize that, someone said this, do you realize that you are a feminist hero in America? Heroine?
Your wife just told me that.
No, do you realize that?
I'm beginning to. You see, it wasn't something that I planned. I kind of see it as a gift because of the life I lived. It had a meaning. And I think that the meaning was all of what is happening now. I think that if I had not given the story to the world, maybe my life would not be as it is. I believe.
So you are aware, or not?
Now I'm becoming more and more aware.
Going public with that story, was that difficult?
Yes, because I had had a lot of violence houses burned, cars shot into, like the lowest you can think of in terms of violence.
Tina didn't want to be labeled a feminist or a strong Black woman. In fact, she did an interview with the New York Times in which she stated, "I don't necessarily want to be a strong person. I had a terrible life. I just kept going. You just keep going and you hope that something will come." I commend Tina for not wanting to put a label on what she had been through. The strong Black woman trope does more to harm Black women than it does help. When you go through the amount of abuse and trauma that Tina went through, or the average Black woman has gone through, you not only need help physically, but you also need help mentally. And the strong Black woman trope is basically you go from one plight to the next, never dealing with the trauma mentally that these situations have caused. And a lot of Black women today are experiencing a lot of mental health issues. And I truly believe it's because it's so ingrained in our minds that you're not supposed to seek help, counseling for the trauma that you go through. And you simply are. I think Tina saw that. And this is what led to her having more success. She did what needed to be done by leaving those relationships, getting help mentally, changing her religion to something that benefited her. What she needed at that time was peace, and she found that in Buddhism. And she was able to transform her life into something that she loved and enjoyed. And she had way more success after she did that. She found a new love. She found more success in her career, and she was happy and she was at peace. Tina's story really is a story about how the Pickme, which is typically a Black woman who goes from making decisions and doing everything, particularly for a Black man, to transforming into I choose me. She chose her in her last days on this earth. And she was able to do that because she did the work. I'm happy that I was able to read through a lot of the recent articles on her and see these interviews. I hope you enjoy them. In the comment section, tell me what you thought about this video. Rest in peace, Tina Turner. Thank you for showing us the way. And thank you for watching.